Hi there, podcast and public radio fans. Heath Drusen here, host and creator of the Extremely American podcast. I'm working on season 3, which is an urgent story about neo-Nazi terrorists and how they helped build a modern white supremacist movement, even from prison. Some of their ideas have even made it to today's White House. It's both a gripping true crime story and a timely warning about threats to our democracy. And this time, my investigative reporting is funded by you. To support the project, please make a tax-deductible contribution at extremelyamerican.org. That's extremelyamerican.org. And thanks.
From the studios of Boise State Public Radio News, I'm Gemma Gaudette. This is Idaho Matters. Imagine a school district in a rural part of Idaho which struggles to find enough money to keep the lights on and its teachers paid, or a small power company or town far from the big cities of Idaho. How do they protect their online systems? Without a lot of money or a lot of resources, finding ways to keep hackers out of their computers is next to impossible. Well, that's where Boise State Cyber Operations and Resilience, or CORE, program comes to the rescue. Students in the program aren't just learning cybersecurity, they work on real-world projects to help small towns protect their online information. Cody Walker is the Associate Director of the CORE program, and Josh Haver is one of the lecturers. And they've been traveling around the state to places like Salmon and Chalice to talk about their need for cybersecurity. And they're with us now to tell us about the program. I want to welcome both of you to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Gemma.
Thank you.
So, Cody, let's begin with you. Can you tell us what CORE actually is? I mean, describe the program for us.
Absolutely. So the Cyber Operations and Resilience program, also known as CORE, was launched in fall of 2021. The program is an asynchronous, completely online program, which allows the students to have flexibility to work on their assignments any time of the day. So whether they're working nights, they can do it during the day, or whether they're working the day, they can do it in the evenings. This allows them the flexibility because it's really about having them learn as they can to make sure that they can keep up with their full-time lives. Students are taught by industry professionals who work in the cybersecurity realm, which is a huge plus. Also, a couple of things that actually takes place is when we started this program, they were only expecting about 50 people. It started with 87 people. Currently today, we have over 350 people in the program this summer. So it's definitely there making an impact.
And it's not just for college students, right? You mentioned how the program, can work with people's schedules. So it's an industry for professionals as well, I would think, Cody. So can you shape the program as a student to what you want or need?
Good question. Yes, you can. So we currently have people that work in the industry that might have been turned down for a promotion, and they need to get a master's degree because their boss has told them, hey, we want to promote you, but you don't have that additional education. Also, we have certificates, which allows them to focus on certain areas of interest. So we are able to tailor the program, or the students are able to tailor the program to what they need.
So, Josh, let me bring you into the conversation. Tell us about some of the things that you teach at CORE. I mean, what are students learning?
Some of the classes that I teach right now are, of course, our capstone, which is a cyber project management class combined with the capstone. It's their final semester, last 7 weeks. And then I also teach a cyber law class, help facilitate the internship course, and some certifications. There's also other ones that I pick up as need be throughout the program.
So, Cody, my understanding is that you spent 20 years in the military before you ended up in Texas. You received a Purple Heart. You had a traumatic brain injury. How did you become the associate director of CORE? Can you talk to us a little bit about your own journey?
Sure, absolutely. So in 2010, I was actually medically retired out of the military. During that time, I did deal with a lot of injuries and rehabilitation. So I took several years off. During an event, I was able to meet somebody that works for a defense contractor, and they said, "Would you like to learn about cybersecurity?" And I was like, "Absolutely. I think it's a fascinating topic." They were able to pick me up, teach me, and able to get me on the right direction. Lo and behold, I ended up back in Idaho after all that time. And I ended up going through the CWI program, which is the College of Western Idaho Cybersecurity. And then I went through the UCOR program, which is our undergraduate level, and then our graduate level. And during that time, I was offered a position in three different companies. One was Boise State. I took Boise State because it allowed me to actually give back to the communities. My only ask when I was offered the position was I get to choose how we do the capstone and why and how we do it. And they said, we absolutely will support you all the way through. So during that time, I've been able to shape the program, be able to shape the capstone, and now Josh is now taking it over.
Why was it important, Cody, for you to be able to shape the capstone?
Well, one of the things that we deal with is rural communities. They are like most entities, they suffer from a lack of funding, taxation, and stuff like that. And with the ability to help them out without any cost to them is, to me, impactful. One of the things that I truly believe in, Idaho truly does matter. And we can do this with students to help them be more secure.
And Cody, you've also become a mentor to a lot of these core students. Why is it so important to have mentors in a field specifically like cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity is a vast industry. It's so many jobs, so many different positions, and so much information. And it becomes really hard to really figure out where do you want to be? How do you want to be it? And to be able to have a mentor to bounce things off of, I think is what helps guide the students and the next generation to be able to say, hey, am I on the right track because it's not fitting for me? Or should I be pivoting and stuff? And I think that right there is truly a way to say, yes, you are, no, you aren't, but let's help you get you on that right track. Now, for me, a mentor, I think, means a lot more than that as well. I think it's a person to bounce not only ideas from, but to say, hey, I'm having stressors. And is there anybody that can just listen to me? I think the greatest thing that I learned in 20 years in the military and combat, sometimes you just need to listen and help give that guidance.
And Josh, you've worked in cybersecurity for quite a while. Can you talk to us about some of the work that you've done to protect cyber systems? I mean, because you've done this, I believe, at a local, a state, and even a federal level.
Yeah, I after leaving the Navy, I came to Boise State actually to get undergrad in information technology management and then minor in cybersecurity. And that's really where that interest first started in cybersecurity. As I worked through IT, both implementing cybersecurity for a state agency, um, I developed a more of a passion with utility sectors. So I got to evaluate cybersecurity expenditures, investments, applicability, and be able to do risk assessments on utility companies. And protecting critical infrastructure is so important to everyone. It's a short path to be able to make an impact on your not just your local community, but your state and nationally as well. So while I worked for the state, I was able to participate in a National Association of Regulatory Utility Commissioners as a critical infrastructure committee person, where I was able to help guide and direct different guidances, policies, information. So it didn't just help the state of Idaho, but it also helped other states as they began their path to not just economically evaluating cybersecurity, but also making sure that the proper controls, both emergency controls and resilient controls, were implemented. It has been a wonderful passion of mine, and I started here at Boise State this last year, and since then, especially working with these capstones and the community partners, it's a nice continuation to be able to help out critical infrastructure, nonprofits in our community to build that cybersecurity resilience.
And Josh, one of the things that you do in the program is help rural towns and communities with their cybersecurity. Just how vulnerable are these kinds of computer systems, in your opinion?
Short answer would be they're very vulnerable. Some organizations have top-notch, great cybersecurity, and even if you have all of the controls in place that you want to have, cybersecurity is ever evolving. The threat constantly evolves, technology constantly evolves. So it's not a stagnant, I built the fence and I'm done. It's the fence keeps changing and we keep having to adapt to the threat landscape that exists. And our rural communities are no different than our homes and the large businesses or the federal government. They're being attacked by not just criminal actors, but nation state actors, especially the critical infrastructure like our small water districts and our local hospitals and our small municipalities.
And you've been traveling around the state, Cody, to places like Salmon and Chalice. Can you talk to us about the need for cybersecurity in these smaller communities? I mean, and also, what's the reception been like? I mean, do they want this type of help from your program?
The short answer is, first, I'm going to say that we were very much receptive. They truly enjoy us being there. We have completed 4 projects with the city of Salmon. We have completed 2 projects in the Chalice area, and they are just eager for us to come back and say, we've made improvements, look at us again. When it comes to cybersecurity, I do believe that we should have cybersecurity in all the rural communities. The downfall that is with that is it does cost money to retain somebody, and that's what they're up against. But if we can somehow cover that or bridge that gap with the use of students, I think it's going to help Idaho be more resilient, and it truly does make an impact.
And before I let you go, Cody, what's next for CORE? Because you've been working on your mentorship program. What else are you hoping that happens next for the program?
I think one of the biggest things is having it grow beyond where it's at. I've been able to talk to people in the industry and stuff, and they feel like there's a bigger need. Also, we've been ranked in the nation for being the most affordable, being the most impactful, and stuff like that in different types of measures. And I think the biggest thing is to have it grow, but I also want it to grow in our rural communities. And that's why we're setting up different things to go with, like certificates. You might not be able to afford to get a full degree, but let's get you a certificate to make you a little bit more educated.
And very quickly, speaking of your certificates, we should say, though, that your master's degree program starts up again, I believe, in August, and you have an application deadline coming up. So how does someone, enroll potentially or get accepted into the program?
Yeah, they can go to the Boise State website, and they can go into the CORE program and go ahead and submit. The biggest thing is when you commit or when you connect with one of our advisors and stuff, they will walk you through everything. The greatest thing is if you can get your paperwork in pretty quick, our approval process is less than a week to get you in. So we are probably one of the fastest approvers out there. In fact, we've been recognized by eCampus Extended Studies that we are truly the fastest to approve people to get into our program.
Well, I want to thank both of you so much for taking time to speak with us. We've been talking with Cody Walker, Associate Director of Boise State Cyber Operations and Resilience Program, and Josh Haver, one of the instructors at CORE. We've been discussing how the program is helping rural communities in Idaho protect their information systems. And that'll do it for this episode of Idaho Matters. Make sure you check out our podcast feed because you can find more episodes of topics that might be interesting to you. And for more local news and headlines, make sure you subscribe to the Connector podcast. Just by listening, you're helping to support public radio right here in Idaho. And I want to say a big thank you for that.
Each story you hear on Planet Money starts with a question. What happens if we refund tariffs? Why are groceries so expensive? At NPR, we stand for your right to be curious, because the forces shaping our world can be hard to see. Follow NPR's Planet Money wherever you get your podcasts and start seeing how the economy really works.